fake cake. But this application that I'm running, if you try this URL here, you're not going to have access to this. It's only for my machine, right? That markdown helps us with this highlighting like in bold, doing all the nice line breaks and everything that we need. Right? So it makes it much easier for us to actually read the response. Now, final step, and we are now truly getting to my 20 minutes mark here, that I promised to be in under 20 minutes. And I'm going to cheat one more time. So history, grab, gcloud, run. Let's do this one, 490, I guess. So this is actually deploying to Cloud Run, which is a serverless option for you to run applications on Google Cloud. While this runs here, I'm gonna once again spill the beans and just switch to that application that I have a version already deployed. You can just click on the link, and this is our bot deployed here. Let's try, what's your name? There you go, same as before. What else can I try here? Oh, that's a typical one. Why is the sky blue? There you go. So this is going to Gemini behind the scenes there. Is this done building, deploying? Not quite yet. And one more kind of cherry on top that I did before, I was going to save only if we had time. With Cloud Run, this is just a little plug. You can actually customize your application URL. So if you go to chatbot.clouddemo.dev, I believe. There you go, chatbot.clouddemo.dev. You can actually see exactly this bot running right now. Yeah.
Can you run it when you lose connectivity temporarily?
No, it's cloud-based, right? So if I were to turn off my Wi-Fi right now, I would not get any responses because it is connected to the model in the cloud.
What did you mean by running just on the local machine?
The development version of the application.
So the development of the application, you can run it without connectivity too?
No, because the model runs in the cloud. You can run models locally, and this is kind of a little sidebar here, but you can have something like, so I have like this guy here. It's called Olama, one option that you can actually install models on your local machine and you can run models locally as well. So it's possible to run an LLM locally, but this here is an application running in the cloud using a model also deployed to the cloud.
So in other words, if you were using Olama, you could apply the same principle to Olama and then it could run also when it loses connectivity.
Yes, assuming everything is running in the same box, yes. And then Olama doesn't require any connectivity as long as the models are installed on the same system. And that's it. Did you do on time? Any other questions? Yeah.
So I got two questions. Could you explain the token system, how the tokens work? And also, could you explain the difference between before you connected it to Gemini and how it was before when it couldn't understand when you put how or
Sure. So the token one, most likely you can find better information on the documentation itself. Rule of thumb for each model has their own way of calculating tokens. Gemini does give or take, it's not a word, it's not a character, it's somewhere between 4 or 5 characters, give or take. I don't know exactly some of the, I guess, highly guarded secrets that they keep, but roughly that's what it comes down to. You can get some idea by sending in some text and see how many tokens is kind of coming out of that, but it's not, I don't think it's precisely always 4, always 5, or whatever magical number. So there's some variance there on how many, or the size of the token. Just one second, there was a second part of this question. Before and after, right, like connect to Gemini or not. So if I go to the code itself, here is probably the easiest way to show that. So if I take that from maybe 2 or actually 3 was the one that had hard coded. That's right, there is some changes, so let's try to undo the changes here. So this part, right? So depending on what the user says here, if I say hello, it's going to reply with hi there. If I say how are you, it's going to reply I'm doing well, thank you. So it's hard coded, right? It's kind of like a set of rules that I'm putting on the bot here. And once I change this to connect to Gemini, I'm just taking this user input and sending to Gemini. I don't do anything else on my application. I just let Gemini figure out what the user wants and take the response and send straight back. Was that good?
So
Okay.
Gemini then creates a response and just sends it back to you.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, it's kind of like you have the AI Studio or Gemini.com and inserted your app right in between the user and the model. And then you can customize your UI, for example, right?
Okay.
Can you use live? Can you use the model, the advanced model that is called Gemini Live, so it has continuous voice? Instead of typing, you can talk to it and it can talk to you back?
You can actually, yeah. So I said I teach at FAU. That's exactly the project that we built in one of my courses. It's all using voice. And if you go to AI Studio, so let me get out of here. So this little add button here, you have a few options for how you can interact with the model. It could be documents, it could be videos, it could be images, but it can also be recorded audio, right? This is what they call multimodal model, and Gemini 1.5.2, they all support different types of input. This is where, kind of like somebody else was talking about the context window. That's where the size of that context window becomes important, because text is one thing, it's very small, but when you start loading videos, then you need to have a longer context window.
So what you're telling me basically that the same thing that you were doing now, you could use with the multimodal, and it will work with the voice.
You just
also.
carry a conversation, yes.
You just may need to have a more powerful machine and other things like that.
Not even, because in this case, the application runs in the cloud, so the voice processing, interpretation, all that runs in the cloud. Your machine just needs to be able to capture the audio and send over. So you need a good connectivity, good connection, but not necessarily beefy CPU, right? As long as you can capture the audio and send it over, the processing of that audio is where the CPU and memory is gonna take the bulk of it, but that happens on the cloud.
And you said that you did it already in FAU, or you plan to do it next semester?
Next semester I'll be back again. Yeah.
Yeah, to create chatbots or in this case application, if you want to install say specific boundaries and limits, you would hardcode them the way you did for the responses, or would it be separate placement?
You mean if you want to try to filter the input and output, kind of like guardrails?
Yeah.
You have to basically do in your application. One way is by inspecting what's in there. There's some frameworks that help you to add some, let's say, safety around the input as well as the output, the response. But in our case here, it is as is. So if you were going to do some type of prompt injection, you'd go straight out, right? I'm not doing any of that. The idea was more to demonstrate how you can build something quick and easy, actually using the model to talk to the model later. But yeah, if you're concerned about security, you need to go back and keep on improving the application. Do we still have time? We're good? Thank you. Got it? Yes, thank you. One on.
All right, everybody, so we're proceeding with our next two talks on the agenda. We've got Lawrence Beckes here, who is a GDE in AppScript, workspace in general, and he's going to be talk called Power Up with AppScript and Gemma. And in the cybersecurity room, we have Paul Ruiz, who's going to be talking about on-device machine learning with AI for Android. All right, so Lawrence is a fellow Canadian, like myself, traveled here to Miami to speak to us all today. He's a wonderful speaker and educator, so I'm very happy to have him here. He's been teaching web development and programming online since the mid-2000s. He has had over 1 million students around the world take his online classes. He's continued to refine his skills and keep up with the latest developments in web programming. He's become an active member of the web development community, as is displayed by his GDE, Google Developer Expert status, which is not an easy thing to get and maintain. He's widely regarded as one of the leading web development instructors on the internet today. So we're very thankful to have you here, and I'll pass the mic to you.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. So I want to start by just asking the audience, how many people have heard of AppScript? Okay, so by the end of this presentation, I hope to introduce you to AppScript, and it's very similar to what Alice was speaking about with AppSheet, but it gives you a little bit more power that you can do with it. You can customize it, and if you're a coder, or even if you're not a coder, there's something in this presentation for all of you. So what AppScript is a scripting language that runs in the background of Google Workspace, and allows you to automate and extend what you can do with Google Workspace. It's cloud-based, it's based on JavaScript, and it's relatively easy to get started with, and it's free to use, and anyone with a Google account has access to it. So in order to get started with AppScript, there's a couple different ways. So you can go over